We all please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is September 10th, 2024. First thing on our agenda is public hearings. We have two of them. The first one is a public hearing for a 6-month moratorium for the development of battery storage facilities in the town of Mount Pleasant. I would ask Emily if she would, our town clerk, to read the notice.
Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant to consider a proposed local law. That's the wrong one. Hold on. 1 second. Printed two of the same. I got it. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant to consider a proposed local law adopting a moratorium on battery energy storage system installations within the Town of Mount Pleasant. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held before the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant, Town Hall, 1 Town Hall Plaza, Valhalla, New York, on the 10th day of September 2024 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of considering a proposed local law adopting a moratorium on the installation of battery energy storage systems within the town. Please take further notice. A copy of the proposed local law is available for review in the town clerk's office. Please take further notice that at the public hearing upon said proposed local law, an opportunity to be heard in regards thereto will then and there be given to those favoring passage of such proposed amendment and also those opposed thereto.
Thank you. The only change, section 2 of the definitions and all, paragraph B, unless permitted pursuant to section 3 hereafter from the date of this local law, no person, entity, or business shall use, cause, or permit to be used any land, body of water, building, or other structure located within the town of Mount Pleasant for any new, not already existing, battery energy storage system installation as defined above. That was the only verbiage that was adjusted. So the public hearing is open. Anyone wish to speak to the town board in regards to this public hearing is welcome to do so at this time.
And Mr. Supervisor, just for the record, there was a submission by Snyder and Snyder dated August 27, 2024, and they had requested it to be part of the record, so we'll just let them know that that is included.
Okay. Yes.
No. If you could just sign in and then when you, okay, and then when you get to the podium, just state your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Michelle Hertz, and my address is 792 Sleepy Hollow Road in Briarcliff Manor. I'm sorry, I kind of have to read this, so I find it deeply discouraging that so many of the so-called fixes for the climate crisis are profoundly destructive and dangerous. Decision makers, I'm not speaking of you all, are approving technologies too fast without regulations or proper testing for public health, safety, and environmental protection. They're making decisions about things they know nothing about, and this is a mistake. Saving us and life on Earth should not be dependent on destroying it in the process. And I want to thank the town for proposing a moratorium on battery energy storage facilities here. Battery storage facilities can cause fires, toxic fires and fumes that close schools and businesses and leave people without clean air to breathe for weeks on end. Just Google it and you will find that it's happening right this minute in California and in other places. I have a few questions that I think must be answered and resolved before any town or state allows them to be built. Are these facilities insured, and for what? Just the facility itself, or for the destruction of surrounding homes and businesses? Are they insured for the cleanup of streams, rivers, parks, and forested areas nearby? Are they insured for the medical bills that people in the vicinity might incur from the fumes? And there's also the destruction of wildlife that has no way to escape any of this. Do the facilities operate using switch mode power supplies and/or variable speed frequency motors? Is that equipment tested and filtered and proven to be in compliance with regulations for harmonic distortion that contaminates the grid? We live in a lightning-prone area, which I know because I lived through it. What kind of lightning protection is required for the facilities? Are there any state or federally mandated public health and safety regulations for these facilities, and who would monitor this? Are there any state or federally mandated environmental regulations for these facilities, and who would monitor this? Can a battery storage facility explode? Can a battery storage facility leak toxic chemicals into the ground and waterways? Who would monitor this? What is the noise level of these facilities during the day and night? Are there noise regulations for the facilities, and who would monitor this? And who is liable for any destruction that the facility might cause? Is it the local utility, Con Edison, for a town like Mount Pleasant? Or is it the company that builds it, or who? So I really appreciate this moratorium. I think it's a very important thing to do. And I think that these types of technologies need to be tested. They need to be proven safe for everyone, the environment, before they are thrown at us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All very good questions. The reason why we are doing a moratorium is because these questions come about. We've had people send us emails in favor of it and against it. We as a town board want to be comfortable moving forward with anything. That's why we're doing a 6-month moratorium here. There's a lot of information, pros, cons, that we have to look at. There's New York State, NYSERDA has regulations which are not in our code, which we have to look at to see if it's something that would be adaptable to any of our codes. So we're not here to tell anybody that we're building these. We're here to tell you that we are taking very strong precautions moving forward with this. So just so you're aware, nobody on this board was just saying, let's just build these. Nobody. So that's why we're doing this. We want to be informed.
I thought you had very good questions. Could you possibly forward that to the supervisor's office so that we can all see it?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I think I just want to mention, questions about harmonics are very important and something that most people don't really know anything about. There are very serious regulations, and I don't know that anyone has even asked any of these facilities to prove that they're safe about these harmonics. So I'll forward these to your office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Melinda Marshall. I'm at 794 Sleepy Hollow Road. I would just like to better understand, I applaud the moratorium. The questions raised, I think, are excellent ones. I don't want to see an unfunded state mandate, especially with liabilities that we may be called upon to fund. But I'd like to understand, beyond the moratorium, if this is state mandated, what is our strategy, what is your strategy for fighting this beyond just a pause in the process? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have, as you probably are aware, have had situations where the state has tried to mandate things on the town of Mount Pleasant and other municipalities as far as changing zoning and telling us how we have to zone. We fought that, we won that. Moving forward, I have no doubt New York State will be challenging municipalities to put these units in, no doubt. And this is why we want to be a little bit ahead of it, have all these rules and regulations that we are comfortable with, so we can fight anything moving forward. Anyone else like? Yes.
Did you sign in?
If anyone else plans on speaking, you could sign up in advance to just get it out of the way.
Can you also clarify what the battery facility is supposed to address?
What it's supposed to address?
Yeah, I know what a battery is.
Or what it's supposed to do?
Why is it being pushed on us?
At this point, it's not being pushed on us. These are developers of those battery storage units want to sell them. And the idea is it holds energy like during off-peak hours, and it gives energy out when it's needed.
So this is to answer the potential issue of blackouts because
Yes.
of energy demands that the grid cannot handle.
Yes. Well, we closed Indian Point, or we didn't, but they decided to close Indian Point before they had anything to replace that energy. So now everybody's rushing to try to replace the loss of that energy through that move.
Hi, my name's Fran Corlucci Skoka, 307 Tuxedo Place, Hawthorne. I put down notes to be concise because, as the First Lady said, there's a tremendous amount of information out there on the internet, and I actually can leave you a pile of stuff that I printed out. I have only one set because I don't have as much ink and paper as you guys have. But in general, I want to confirm there is already an existing facility right behind Hawthorne Reformed Church in Hawthorne.
Yes.
I don't know when that went. I don't know what the hearings were on that. I missed that. And I believe there's at least, is there another one up at the community center?
Yes.
I couldn't see where that was, but I heard that there was another one. So there's already two in Mount Pleasant. And I believe there's proposals possibly for two more, right? Hall Place and then one down on 9A by Rosedale, right? So my first question is, the concentration in this town, to me, would be devastating to have 4 facilities in what I think amounts to between Valhalla, Thornwood, and Hawthorne, about 3-point-something square miles. Why would we need 4 facilities in this area? I know the risks have been mitigated over the last few years of science, but I'm a retired bank auditor. I was the deputy chief auditor at Bank of New York. I reported to the chief auditor. Probability, statistics, risk management was my thing. And the more you put, the more risk you have, right? Because if it's only a 97% error, but now you have 4, you're increasing that error rate. The facility in Hawthorne is underneath where the Sawmill, the Sprain, the Taconic, and the Bronx River all meet, and down the street from the train station. So a fire there, and I never say it right, thermal runaway that could happen, could shut all that down. And that's happened. That's happened in California. They've shut down Pacific Coast Highway. As the lady said, there's a fire 5 days ago in California. There was a terrible fire a few years ago in Arizona where firefighters, see they're here, were injured. There was a fire in Warwick. There was a fire in East Hampton. So it's not like it doesn't happen. It happens, and we have to be very, very careful. So I certainly am in agreement with the 6-month moratorium. I'd like this board to consider it no mas in the town of Mount Pleasant. I know, I believe Carmel, I believe Mount Kisco, I believe Newcastle all passed their moratoriums in the last couple of months for the 6 months, and some are considering stopping completely. And like I said, risk management is my thing, right? So if it would move forward, you have to have contingency plans. You have to get all of the fire, environmental police, regular police coordinated to be able to respond to such an event. This has closed schools. It's had shelter-in-place orders. It has put poison in groundwater in East Hampton. This is serious, serious stuff. I live up the street from Rosedale, so something down there, I'm going to have a shelter in place. I'm going to have my property value is going to go down the tanks. I'm sure it'll still be assessed high, but there's no way someone's going to want to move into an area with this many storage facilities. So you really all have to consider that. And I know you are taking a step back and looking at it, and I appreciate that. So I'm very much in support of the 6-month moratorium, as well as possibly not putting any more in than what already exists. And I have a whole bunch of stuff for you guys. Articles, and this is a risk matrix. Like I said, risk management was my thing. So when you just go to even a medium probability and not even the highest risk, it tells you to stop and really think. And if you flip to the highest risk, which to me, something happening in these facilities would be the highest risk to our town, it's like stop. Do not go forward. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So I really hope, besides the 6 months, you seriously consider not putting any more here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board? Again, we don't need anybody to convince us to go forward with the moratorium. The town board is something the town board wants to do. So you all have a right to speak. Anything you want to say, it's fine. But understand, you're not going to be convincing us to do the moratorium. That's why we're here, to do it.
Good evening, everybody. Carlo Valente, Hawthorne. I'm not going to repeat anything that was already said or repeat myself from the last 2 meetings we here, but a question did come up about the toxins that are in the batteries themselves. I pulled up a report for something that is looking to get set up in San Diego, and so it's a toxin report. Some of the chemicals that can get released will get released when there is a fire. Hydrogen chloride, hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen cyanide, carbon monoxide are just some of the toxins that are in there. And there were a couple of fires since the last time we were here, and I checked the list that gets updated when there is fire. And because it's not a mandatory list, several fires don't get reported. So from the last time we were here, maybe about a month ago, we had several other fires that happened. One was actually pretty big. This was actually a semi-trailer in California, near Sacramento, shut down a highway for about 16 hours. That was completely just engulfed.
Carlo,
That's
can
basically.
I ask, do you know what
Yeah.
starts the fires? Do they say?
Yeah, so I printed up another article and some more about the myths of when fires start or how they start. They could start during transportation. That's how this was started. So, for example, how the packs are built, insulated, transported. So a shock, just road shock, could start it. We have thermal runaway that happens. Thermal runaway that occurs when that happens. When they are switched on. If a wiring or communication is crossed, something as simple as that, that could start something as well. Depending on how the products are built, it's just like anything else. If you're going to get yourself like a Cadillac or if you're going to get yourself like a Hyundai, well, Hyundais are kind of good now. Anyway, you know what I mean. So depending on how they're built is really what you're going to get. And for the most part, everyone is looking at their bottom line. So if they could get something that's average, you have a lot of average problems that occur. But insulation, transportation, and then just just a startup. But then, yeah, weather could be a factor. Flooding could be a factor. Impact. You could have someone who's looking to a coordinated effort. If we have multiple battery systems throughout the town, just a coordinated effort. All you need is some walkie-talkies. Where's your car? Let's drive into them at 5 seconds. Car would crash into them. It's not going to explode, but they will burn. And then you just have hours and hours and hours of burning. Then you have to worry about protecting the environment around it, or if there's any other exposures. So it's not the system itself, it's everything that it affects.
Well,
and
do you know of any units that are considered like top shelf?
Teslas are considered the best, but this was a Tesla transportation that shut down Interstate 80 for 16 hours. So anything can happen.
Even the best could be a
Right.
problem.
And again, it really depends on, you don't, everything has to be perfect in order for them to operate perfectly, but we don't live in a perfect world. And so I don't see that ever happening. As you stated earlier, this is something that Con Ed and the grid is trying to catch up because they shut down Indian Point. If Con Ed is so eager to have these, I encourage them to put them on their plant right there. We know that that is, a target that could catch fire, create, electricity is very dangerous. If this is such a great idea, I, implore them to install them on their property right there. It'll never happen. But that's a challenge I throw to them. That's all I have. I'll leave you the information. Yes?
Just one question from a firematic standpoint. Last time you here, you mentioned that from a firefighter's perspective, there's no way to put them out. They just
No way to put them out.
Yeah.
So something as simple as a car fire, because some of these, if you have solar panels, some of them have power walls. So you're storing basically a lithium-ion battery that you're storing that electricity for when you need it. You charge your car, or you could power your house. If those ever catch fire, thermal runaway, they cannot be put out. They literally need to burn themselves out. A lot of these packs, the way they're made, what they're trying, because we don't have a New York State code that deals with any of these energy storage system, nor charging plants, nor power walls that people have in their homes. Really, it's the Wild West. Anything can be built because it's just so new. And like I said before, I don't think we should be the test subject for this new technology. As much as it is something to be looked at and could be great down the line, again, we shouldn't be the test subject for it. But no, if we have a car fire, a regular combustion car, 300, 400, 500 gallons takes care of it, extinguishes, no problem. When you have an electrical fire, lithium ion or lithium phosphate or anything like that, they burn. Even if they, are considered extinguished, they're still going to burn. They get put in a special place in that yard that's not going to have an issue anywhere else. Case in point, we've had the ship that caught fire in the port of Newark, I believe it was last August. They had electrical batteries on that car. We lost 2 firefighters. They had no plan. Once one goes up, they all go up. And that thing burned for, I think it was over a week. And that's, and you're trying to suffocate that with no oxygen, but it self-ignites and it'll just burn forever.
The demonstration, you're gonna on Thursday, I think, up at the community center, you're gonna do a demonstration with
Right.
a new foam product?
Correct.
Will that
No.
extinguish?
No. That foam product is supposed to suffocate but those are for conventional fires.
Can you go back to something you just said? New York State doesn't have a code?
So right now, New York State, in the building code that's currently adopted by all the municipalities in New York State is the 2020 building code that came out May 12, 2020. There are some suggestions that came out after we had a Warwick fire and a Southampton fire, or Suffolk County fire, I should say. So NYSERDA put together a report based on these. So it's a suggestion. It's not mandated. It hasn't been peer reviewed. It's not been adopted. It's not in our code cycle as of right now. A new code cycle is supposed to be coming out in 2025. Hopefully something like that would be in there.
So have your firefighters or any others of our volunteers in town been trained on how to extinguish an electrical fire?
Electrical fire for these power.
Yes.
Yeah. So no,
Got it.
they've come to us. And for the one that's installed behind the Hawthorne Reformed Church, they did a presentation, and they were honest with us. They told us about the Warwick fire. They told us about the Suffolk County fire. They told us about several other fires that occurred. Some of us did our homework beforehand, had a slew of questions. For them, our protocol with them, God forbid that ignites, we have a phone number to call them. And with that phone number, they'll respond within 15 minutes. Our SOPs, our standard operating procedure, is to secure the area, is to protect your exposures. We cannot extinguish those fires. We have several of us that just came back from our September 11th ceremony who can all attest to it. those fires cannot be extinguished.
Thank you for your information.
Thanks.
All right, I'll leave this if you guys are interested.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board on this topic?
Good evening, folks. My name is Roberto. I'm also a Hawthorne volunteer firefighter. I was a resident of this town for over 10 years, and I still continue to serve the community here. I'm just going to add on a couple of points that I feel needs to be crystallized that the captain had mentioned earlier. So a lot of these byproducts that do get released into the air, into the environment, when these materials are in fact burning, require us to do evacuation protocols and establish perimeter zones. And these are considerably close to residential areas. So to drive that point home, if you looked at, I looked at the locations where some of them are currently at, and where some of the latest unit is currently proposed to be, those evacuation protocols, especially factored in for time of day, will ask us to probably vacate outlying residential areas. So
Does it give a radius or no?
I give you a radius, but it depends on the chemical. So it's a hydrogen, it's hydrogen sulfide, or another type of volatile chemical. Every different chemical requires a different type of plan. And the fact that we can't even address those, we can't put them out. So we physically cannot go to those locations because we don't have the protocols for them. And the actual techniques and mechanisms for extinguishing electrical interior cell batteries, they don't exist. They are designed to burn. They are self-contained environments that are designed to do what they got to do, generate electricity. And when those environments become compromised through compression, as the captain mentioned, poorly transported, or some freak event, they're going to go. They're going to continue to go. There's no existing magic trick to extinguish them. We're certainly not. Our protocols don't call to advance our firefighters there because we don't have the proper protections in place. We don't have the proper environmental protections in place. Once we try to crack it open, that's not going to happen. So I just want to crystallize those things that we can't do, and the things we have to do in order to protect the community. Should the surrounding components. It's not the cell of the battery that makes that concerns us. It's all the components built around it that will fail in the event of these things if they can't contain themselves. So your regular plastics, your regular other components that will burn, that will be released into the air, and the fact that we can't address those right away. So I mean, when we sat down and spoke to these folks again, we had a lot to say because we felt there was a level of inadequacy from what they were revealing to us about, well, what can we do? What kind of fire suppression tactics? What kind of, what did you disclose? Well, if you said you're safe, they're not safe because you're still burning X, Y, and Z materials. And again, that's the risk that we take when we put these into the town. And I want you guys to grab that, just consider that, review it over, and ask more questions.
Thank you.
What kind of personal protective equipment does a firefighter require
Sure.
to wear in a situation like this?
Well, any personal protective equipment that we're going to wear doesn't even address the fires that we face day to day. We design our own particular plans of attack for conventional fires that include materials that weren't around 50 years ago. Our existing components don't even necessarily address that. They can only protect us for a little bit in interior space of a while. It's not designed to address that. I mean, that's a whole fire medic conversation. But, there's a lot of risk when it actually comes to put extinguishing flames. We're not talking about flames here. We're talking about thermal heat.
Right.
It's a completely different animal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the board on this topic? Be there no speakers, I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved to close the public hearing.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is public hearing to amend Town Code Chapter 162, property maintenance.
Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant to consider a proposed local law amending Town Code Chapter 162, Property Maintenance. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held before the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant, Town Hall, 1 Town Hall Plaza, Valhalla, New York, on the 10th day of September 2024 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of considering a proposed local law adopting an amendment to Town Code Chapter 162, Property Maintenance. Please take further notice, a copy of the proposed local law is available for review in the town clerk's office. Please take further notice that at the public hearing upon said proposed local law, an opportunity to be heard in regards thereto will then and there be given to those favoring passage of such proposed amendment and also those opposed thereto.
A lot of this, in my opinion, is things that the average resident does with their home. They maintain their property, but there are areas where homeowners think that, well, they have a hedge, and then the curb is like 10 feet out. They feel, it's not my problem, let the town take care of it. And it creates a blight. It affects the surrounding community. So the idea is to have residents, to ask residents to maintain their property out to the curb. We've had issues with, like Con Edison felt that they didn't have to maintain certain properties because it was the town, it was alongside the town property. So what we're trying to do is get all of us on board and say, you know what, we're all going to do a better job taking care of our property, not leave it up to the town to have to come by with lawnmowers and start cutting the grass outside of your hedge. But that's part of, there's probably other details and I may be missing, but that's the crux of it all, that we're just asking for better maintenance of properties. Some people let things grow and their neighbors get all upset because it's growing onto their property. So it's a matter of being courteous and just maintaining your property. But if anybody wishes to speak on this topic, you're welcome to do so.
Good evening, council members. My name is Rick Purcell, 130 Todd Lane, Briarcliff Manor. I have a more unique scenario with my property. I have about 900 feet of property line that abuts the road on Todd Lane and Carlton Avenue. Much of it is, there's probably between 5 and 10 feet. I'd have to look at my survey and get a surveyor out. But that has a lot that's on steep slopes that's hard to maintain, a lot that is past my property that has trees. As drafted, and I talked with the town attorney about this afternoon, as drafted, the sentence before the new language in the proposed law actually requires replacement of trees and shrubs that would be past the property line in the right of way if they are destroyed. By extending the obligation of the property owner to maintain that area, if a car hits a tree there, it's now my responsibility to replace that tree. I don't think that's what's intended here, and this is all in the spirit of courteous maintenance of my property and trying to do the best I can. There's quite a bit, and I'm working on it, but that said, I think it may have effects that are not intended. I would request just a little more time to maybe talk with the town attorney and highway department to see if we can fine-tune the language, perhaps a more targeted approach to things like what you're talking about, maintenance of grass past a hedge, sort of abandonment past a certain line versus things like trees being replaced if they happen to be past the property line in the right of way. That really shouldn't be the responsibility of a property owner.
You're not concerned about the property that's you own?
No, I'm fully responsible for everything inside the property line, of course.
So this is an area outside of your property?
Yes, sir.
That is basically town right away?
Yeah, and there are sections, and again, sorry for delaying the action on other items before the board. Yeah, there are sections that are, and I could provide photos, of like street signs and telephone poles that are in the right of way past my property. It would be a substantial burden to have to go out there and clean all of that in addition to the rest of my property. And I suspect there are other properties like mine. I only just found out about this law a couple of days ago, so I'm just asking for an opportunity to interface with Highway Department, Town Attorney, anyone else who might be able to make a more precise draft of the law that wouldn't, require replacement of trees.
I didn't know
It
replacement.
exists like that now. That wasn't changed.
Yeah.
That's been on the books.
Yes,
So our
sir.
proposal changes to the curb line.
Right.
That's it. So there's, and I think it's kind of an example, replacement of trees. I don't think it's mandating replacement of trees. I don't think the town in the decade I've been here has required anyone to replace a tree that has died, ever.
No, if that's not the intent, then I would just say that the language should reflect that. Right now, the
That's the law
sentence.
as it is now.
Yes, the sentence before that now says, "Such maintenance shall include but not be limited to the replacement of trees and shrubs which may die and/or otherwise be destroyed." And then it says, in addition to the property line, the landowner must maintain up to the curb. So a tree past the property line in the curb would fall within that maintenance obligation, as drafted.
But that's not the intent, though.
A revision is not this. He's commented on the existing one that is today.
Right.
Which may, and I'll talk to Rich, our highway superintendent, about it and see how it plays out. But let's look at that closer, but I don't think it'd prevent you from doing what you proposed tonight, to amend the law to get to the curb line.
All I'd ask is more
If there's
time to
an area
discuss
by
the text.
by, which we spoke earlier today,
Mhm.
an area by the signs that need to be trimmed by the town, I think that can be done pretty easily.
Yeah, and
If
to be,
that's in the right of way, we're gonna do that.
yeah.
So the language existed, but it did not include that next sentence, which now makes you liable to replace a tree 10 feet farther than you might have been liable
Yes, sir,
beforehand?
that's-
Is that what
that's
you're saying?
correct, yes.
I think the problem was, I think you do it anyway. The Con Ed wasn't doing it specifically, so now we're specifically saying it, which is similar to other codes that mandate this. So they probably all had to do it beforehand, but now it's crystal clear, you don't have a choice but to do it. But if a tree dies or a shrub dies and you pull it out, the town's not gonna micromanage people's properties and say, you gotta put a new shrub in.
Well, I would certainly hope not,
We
but
have-
that is the way it's drafted. That's all I'm asking. It's my only concern. If I have, an assurance that that's not how it'll be enforced, that's sort of a different question.
I think there is some discretion here of whether things need to be required or not. And that's,
Well, I don't think we arrested anybody for a tree that died.
no.
And this code has existed for
Yeah,
many
saying it
years.
shall be well maintained, for example, might have to be replacing trees if they're remote, if it doesn't look right. Like if someone pulls out a whole bunch of trees and doesn't get a permit for it, maybe they need to be replaced. That's the discretion of the building department and the highway department. It's not something that's mandated, it's an example.
I would also ask if this was looked at with respect to the tree canopy zone, which is regulated under
That's
a different
Con Ed.
section of the code. Yes, but, well, part of it with respect to the power lines, but with respect to the area, I think it's 15 feet back from the right-of-way, there's a limitation on what you can do with those trees. So I think this may overlap with that law.
I mean, with Con Ed's
Not just
requirements.
Con Ed, but I think that applies to residential owners as well.
Because we can't touch any trees within a certain distance from the power lines.
Right. Well, I remain concerned with respect to the letter of the law, pulling, me in as a property owner and having to maintain trees and, areas around street signs that are between my property line and the right-of-way. I believe the
think
language does that.
What we do
Mhm.
in a lot of cases is, it's on a case-by-case basis.
Sure.
Like, not everybody has been mandated to follow the letter of the law.
Absolutely.
Terrain could get in the way, it could be
Mhm.
a lot of different things that could affect it.
I have that very problem myself.
Sounds that way.
All right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is John Edwards. I live at 838 Linda Avenue. And similar to the gentleman, I have a very steep piece of land that runs from the curb to my property line that's heavily laden with poison ivy. And so I can get in there and cut it out, cut up the stuff and trim back during the winter but at this time of year, it gets to be quite a problem. So I just wanted to reflect off that gentleman's comments. What I really came to complain about, and I brought handouts, I only brought two because my printer is running out of ink, is, since we're talking about blight, neighborhood blight, the construction the construction that's not going on Linda Avenue. As you may be aware, Mr. Panetta died a while ago, and if you look on the second page, that right-hand is a picture of a foundation that he poured last year before he died and is now abandoned. The two houses immediately south of him are beautiful, but at this point, that project has been abandoned. The next 3 lots to the north of that foundation are also owned by him and look to be a dumping ground for materials. On the front page are pieces of construction equipment that have been sitting there now for more than a year. That shed, I don't know, I think it's a shed, and then the trailer have been there for more than 2 years. The backhoe comes and goes. I think someone's just storing stuff there. I think they maybe had a deal with Mr. Panetta, but it's an eyesore. Now, on the second page, that right-hand picture that you're looking at, it looks pretty nice now. But that land was actually dug out in about 2014, 2015 by J-Man Development, and then just abandoned. And there are other projects around town. Across from Westchester Community College, there's that on grasslands. That was abandoned in about 2014 because the gentleman had health issues. It's now, I think, there's something going on there now. I think they're developing a retired home or assisted living facility there now. I've been in planning board meetings where people had complained about 9A Wappinger Trail, that was left abandoned by the developer for a long time and created a significant amount of water runoff. So, and it also did not look nice. I happened to go by after I was at that meeting. I don't mean to criticize developers too much because as small businessmen, they're limited by what they can do. But I think that if you're going to talk about neighborhood blight, I think these are issues that have to be addressed as well. Not necessarily specifically by this, but since it's the theme for this topic, this open session, I thought I'd bring it to your attention.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Without you saying this, I had no idea this was going on here.
Yeah, that's,
So
Well,
I appreciate you letting me know, and it will be looked into this week.
Okay,
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine McFarland. I live in 36 Burton Road in Thornwood. I don't know if this is applicable, and maybe I read it wrong, but I just felt the terminology was very ambiguous, maintaining a property. Everyone defines that differently. I'm currently trying to do more of a native planting on my property, encouraging pollinators, and some people might consider that not blight, but not properly maintained. So I guess I just felt the language was just a little bit subjective.
Sometimes things are intentionally made vague.
Right.
Gives you a little bit of wiggle room.
Right.
Just like in this case here, we're not going to be going over to his house to pull him out of his house and tell him you didn't cut that grass.
Correct.
So we do work with people on these different situations. So
Okay.
don't be, if somebody comes to your house with machine guns and all, let us know and we'll
Oh, no.
take care of it.
I don't think they'll do that, but I mean, my grass doesn't look like everyone else's whose looks like a golf course. And I've just been doing a lot of reading, and pollinators, I mean, if a dandelion can't live on your lawn, chances are nothing else can live on your lawn. And, we just all need our pollinators. So I just felt like the terminology in the description was like someone, and the lawns look beautiful. I mean, a golf course looks beautiful, right? But it's not what I'm doing on my property, and I don't want someone to say that this is the definition of beauty. This is the definition of maintenance. So I guess that's my
Have you
concern.
ever had anybody complain to you about the
No,
appearance?
no.
so I really wouldn't worry about it. then.
Okay,
We won't be knocking on your door.
all right. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the board on this topic? Be there no speakers, I will entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close this public hearing, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second?
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the supervisor's report, getting back to authorization to establish a 6-month moratorium for the development of battery storage facilities in the town of Mount Pleasant.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On the issue we just discussed, authorization to amend Town Code, Chapter 162, Property Maintenance.
Carl, can we table this for a week
Change the language a little.
and discuss further? Is that okay?
We can.
I think we should just maybe have a chat about it, some of the language.
We
Yeah,
can.
there's a few things I would question too, and just change. I agree with you, Mark. I would like to, if we can.
You get what you want.
Sure.
I just want to say, I would gladly collaborate with the town attorney on language if you're open to table.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So how do we close the public hearing on it?
We close the public hearing, if there's some change to the languages that need a renotice, we'll have to do that. But for now, we can close the public hearing and table the decision, and we may need to renotice. But
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay.
So Resolution
Just change language.
351-24, the motion would be to table by Mark,
Yes.
I'll second that.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Supervisor.
Thank you.
So we get along with everybody. see?
No, my head, I'm thinking too many things right now, so.
Where are we here? Moving down. Purchase order, 144-24-03, engineering software. This is for our engineering department. There's a number of different AutoCAD, architectural engineering, AutoCAD for an annual subscription. Yes, we got, total cost is $6,362.90. It went through, obviously, our controller approved it, so the funding is in the engineering department to pay for this. So we could move forward if you like.
I'll move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization, requesting approval from the town board to go out to bid for cleaning of town hall. This bid is to be posted in the paper on September 16th, and bid specifications are to be available town clerk's office at the same time, same day. The opening bid will be held on September 27th at 11 a.m. in the building department's conference room. We had a cleaning company that we weren't totally happy with, so it was a request to go out and get other bids for cleaning town hall. So what do we don't have to do anything about public? This will be, all this information will be in your office?
Yeah, I'm gonna put the notice in the paper. That'll probably publish Monday, and then we'll have until the 27th to collect bids.
Okay,
So you'll authorize to go out to bid for the town hall.
okay.
Thank you.
So Resolution 353-24 is authorization to go out to bid for the town hall cleaning.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Authorization to hire Labella APC, third-party traffic consultant. This is regarding the Toll Brothers project. There was a request for another traffic consultant to review the traffic study. The only reason we're approving this is because they are not presently a vendor for the town. So we have to approve them as a vendor.
And it'll be paid for by the applicant and other applicants too, and they're a new company. One of the people that did the traffic work moved companies,
Right.
who we usually use.
So Resolution 35424 will authorize the hiring of Labella APC, third-party traffic consultant, for the planning board.
Make a motion for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to issue refunds for 2018-19 and 2020 tax bills for 121 Columbus Avenue. It was brought to our attention that the assessment on the property referenced above had not been changed for years. Immediately after a settlement was authorized on January 7, 2019, the property had a change in ownership, and this adjustment was missed and not brought to our attention. We have obtained the County Tax Commission's acknowledgement and approval for the necessary adjustments based on the 2017, 18, 19 assessment rolls. Refunds are due on town, county, as well as school bills for the tax years 18, 19, and 20.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'm just seeing if the numbers are here.
Yeah.
Total town and county refund is $10,532.11. Total school refund is $23,188.12. Now you can go, Mark.
I will move to approve this.
Motion by Mark,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to enter into agreements with the ambulance corps, ambulance district, I should say. We have these are updated agreements with the ambulance corps.
We have one here with
Pleasantville,
Pleasantville and Valhalla.
Mount Pleasant West Ambulance District.
There's a couple of districts.
Mm-hmm.
That's another Mount Pleasant West, and that's already got the Village of Briarcliff Manor. And Valhalla Ambulance District.
There it is. Pleasantville, Mount Pleasant West, Mount Pleasant West, Valhalla. I've got Sleepy
One of
here.
them, so it's Pleasantville, Sleepy Hollow, Briarcliff, Valhalla.
Okay.
These are updated numbers for the ambulance districts.
Are these updated annually?
There are times we don't always get the information that we're supposed to get from the ambulance corps. So sometimes it gets a little delayed. So there's been cases where we're approving more than 1 year at a time. We're trying to get into a rhythm where we could approve like a few years at a time, so you're not going back and forth. We did that to fire protection districts also.
Yeah.
It's the same contract.
Hydrant
And the agreements
agreements.
would be automatically renewed for up to 5 years, so we did every 5 years.
Yeah.
And then the numbers would just be, would be finalized with the control.
So we are getting closer to setting up multiple year approvals. So Plano will catch up on a couple of them. So Resolution 35624 will allow us to enter into the agreements with the ambulance districts within the town of Mount Pleasant.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is, there are two letters that is requested by the town and the village regarding the Mount Pleasant Library. For them to move forward on grants, they need the approval from the town that we're going to be continuing our association with the library as owners. And also, we are agreeing to potential funding and bonding for future projects. But without the agreements from the town, they cannot move forward with the grant. The grant is approximately $400,000, so it will be real helpful for the library if they were able to get it. It'll cut back on the amount of the responsible funding from the town and the village. So this year, Resolution 35724 will authorization to approve the two letters that you have in your
Two letters of
file.
Yep.
That will be submitted to the New York State Public Library construction grant process.
Carl, I just, on behalf of the library as the liaison, I just want to say thank you, and thank you to the board for your support. This grant is very important to the library, and so is the master plan, and your support has been, it's very appreciative. And thank you for your vision, and thank you for your support, and all the library boards and the director appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom, you going to make a motion on that then?
And I'll gladly make a motion, and again, thanks for your support.
I might have dozed off when you were doing that.
That's what I meant to do.
Okay, I'll second the
Thank you.
motion.
Motion by Tom, second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Got to have a little levity. Okay. Investment report. Present rate of interest is 4.85%.
Oh, good, okay.
Right now, we have business on the floor. Anyone who wishes to address the board on any issue regarding town business is welcome to do so at this time. Then we'll move on to Emily for our town clerk's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Town Clerk's Report, Town Board Meeting, September 10th, 2024. Public hearing to consider a 6-month moratorium on the development of battery storage facilities in the town of Mount Pleasant. Public hearing to amend Town Code Chapter 162 Property Maintenance. Received and filed 2 notices relating to New York State liquor license applications from Casarina Homemade Italian Cuisine, Inc., 886 Commerce Street, and Marble Restaurant, OPCO LLC, 14 Marble Avenue. Received and filed 1 planning board resolution, final approval for Pearson Humphrey subdivision, and 1 notice of claim, Chiaramonte versus Town of Mount Pleasant.
Item 3 would be referred to our town attorney. Moving on to council reports. Councilman Saliano.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report is from the police department. We have quite a number of items for you, so please be patient. The first item is a purchase order number 30-24-30. It's for tablet computers, the vendors Patrol PC. Their cost is $88,077.85. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And by the way, Mr. Supervisor, the first couple items I spoke to the chief of police are grants that we received, so there's no cost to the town. It's the first 4 items, and it's a 7th item, but it's, there's a lot of savings here through a New York State grant that we received for the police department.
Very good.
There was a grant from Congressman Lawler also.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just bear with me for 1 second. I lost my place. Okay,
Got it?
got it.
Okay.
Okay, the second item is a purchase order number 30-24-31. It's for a thermal camera. The vendor is Zistos Corporation. The price is $29,801.25. I respectfully ask the board for a motion of approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The third item moving forward, again, is a purchase order. It was a grant, 30-24-32, thermal binoculars. The vendor is Cellmark Corporation. The total, it was 3 thermal binoculars, $16,301.77. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The fourth item is supervisor, again, a purchase order 30-24-33, ATS 5-speed trailer with ALPR. The vendors, All Traffic Solutions Incorporated. And again, this is from a grant. It's $26,615.96. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The fifth item from the police department, ladies and gentlemen, is purchase order number 30-24-34, LED post top light fixtures. The vendor is Light Concepts Ltd. The price is $11,304. And again, $10,000 will be paid from the NYSERDA grants, and the remainder is accounted for in the 2004 budget. And it's $11,304 minus the $10,000 grant. And we'll pick up the rest in the budget. I ask for a motion of approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The sixth item is a purchase order number 30-24-35 for a storage garage. The vendor is Acorn Farms Country Store LLC. It's a 12 by 24 A-frame garage that's fully assembled, and the total cost is $10,591. I move for approval.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Just a note on that storage garage, Tom. I had talked to Corey from Traffic and Safety for a while. We were talking about it. He's got like boxes there, like the backs of old trucks. And I was asking if there was a way to clean that up. So this will get rid of those boxes that are there.
Yeah, the chief did mention was for Corey, and that
And
has
this will
had a...
help clean that area up a little bit.
That's great. Appreciate that. Item number 7, moving forward, authorization to purchase up to $4,000 in radio equipment from the town of Harrison. In conjunction with the town of Mount Pleasant, the town of Harrison stepped up to give us a great price on some Kenwood NX 5200 portable police radios for only $200 per radio. We're going to use these as backup, as spare radios, but this was an example of another municipality helping another municipality, and we're thankful for that. And the total cost, I believe, he doesn't have the total cost here. It's,
$4,000?
what does he have, 4,000?
No.
Up to
it would-
4,000?
Up to 4.
Up to 4,000.
For 20 radios.
Yeah, it's $4,000.
$4,000.
Yeah, it's 4,000, that's correct. It would have been a 500 apiece. We got them for 200 apiece. So I move for approval for the, to get 20 backup radios from police department, please.
$4,000, right?
Correct.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item number 8 is authorization for police officer Brandon DeRubius to enroll in a master's degree program in criminal justice. Again, we have for our collective bargaining agreement, police officers can go to school and their tuition's reimbursed when the degree is authorized. He's attending New Haven University on a graduate program commencing in this September. It's a Master's Science in Criminal Justice. He's going to get 36 credits for a total of 12 classes. Tuition is $39,312. However, the university offers a 50% discount for active sworn police officers. The total cost for the program, including the discount, would be $19,656. I move for approval for this master's program for a police officer.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 10 is authorization to offer conditional employment to police officer candidate to replace.
You missed 9.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, traffic and safety.
Pardon me, I'm doing great.
You're doing fine.
Pardon me for 1 second. Item number 9, thank you. Authorization to hire traffic safety seasonal maintenance labor effective September 12, 2024. Authorization is requested to hire Zachary Stone DeGregorio of Valhalla as a seasonal maintenance laborer in the traffic safety department. The rate of pay for this position is $20 per hour. If approved, this will be effective as of September 12, 2024, and will terminate after 4 months of employment. I move for approval to hire the seasonal maintenance labor effective September 12th, 2024.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Great. Now we're back to item number 10, authorization to offer conditional employment for police officer candidate to replace a police officer vacancy created by a recent retirement of a police officer. I would respectfully request authorization to offer conditional employment to a police officer candidate. At this time, I would withhold the name of the candidate until further screening is conducted. I move for approval to offer conditional employment to a police officer candidate. I asked a motion for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
Okay. Give it to
Sorry,
Danielle.
Lori.
No,
second by Danielle. All in
that's
favor?
fine.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The 11th item is authorization to hire a part-time dispatcher effective September 11th, 2024. And to continue efforts to civilianize our police dispatching, we have interviewed persons for the position of a part-time civilian dispatcher. Mr. Eric D. Hansen of Yorktown Heights has surpassed the qualifications necessary for this position. I would respectfully request authorization to hire Mr. Eric D. Hansen as a part-time police dispatcher at an hourly rate of $25 per hour effective September 11, 2024. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item, number 12, thank you for your patience. It's authorization to hire a part-time clerical worker. The police department's part-time clerical worker recently retired, and the department is looking to fill this vacancy for 17.5 hours per week at an hourly rate of $19 per hour. Interviews are being conducted. Thank you for your consideration. It's from Police Chief Oliva. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zano.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, fellow board members, residents of Mount Pleasant. I have 3 items for you tonight from our Highway Department. First is purchase order 50-24-12. The vendor is Montesano Brothers. This is for 2024 milling and paving operations on various roads. We have Rutledge Drive to Westlake, Waverly to Clinton, Livingston to Columbus, Kings to Old Sleepy Hollow. Total anticipated millings is 38,056 square yards. Tonnage is $1,675. Total cost of the final invoice may vary, depending on the course of the paving project. If additional tonnage is needed to complete the project, or if escalation fees come into play. The total cost for this purchase order, 50-24-12, is $331,306.96. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second?
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, sound like we're telling you.
Motion carries.
There's not a lot of life in this room tonight. My next item is purchase order 50-24-13, again from Highway. The vendor is Solar Technology. This is for 2 mobile sign boards. Total cost is $38,248.84. Pricing is per the GSA contract. Let's see if I have anything else. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And my last item is authorization to deposit bond for street opening permit 6443. A check covering the bond amount for the following street opening permit has been forwarded to the Office of the Comptroller for deposit in the escrow account. The bond amount will be released until when the work is performed and the road has been completed, and the road has been restored to the satisfaction of our Superintendent of Highways. The name is Precision Field Testing. The work is being performed on Lakeshore Drive in Pleasantville. Bond amount is $8,600. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, and that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Councilman Sarastino.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, residents and fellow board members. I will begin with the Comptroller's Memo, Resolution 373-24. We'll start with items coming out of our general fund. This is Selective Insurance Company of New York is the vendor for the Pleasantville Ambulance Corps flood insurance for their garage and office building, totaling $7,242. Moving on to the Justice Court Fund, various steno services, interpreters, and other miscellaneous costs totaling $36,392.98. Attorney fees for Harris Beach. This is various legal matters that the town is involved with, and Harris Beach is representing, and this total is $75,603. Out of the Town Hall Building Fund, we're purchasing some shelving for the storage room, $4,044.66. I guess it's a little more than some shelving, but shelving. Central Data Processing Fund, licensing to Tyler Technologies is the vendor, This is for the period beginning September 4th, 2024 and ending next year, next September, $41,902.25. Municipal association dues are being paid for the Association of Towns of the State of New York and the Westchester Municipal Officials Association. This is for the current year as well, from September 1st, 2024 through the end of August 2025, totaling $2,825. Special consulting services retainer fees for September for Thompson and Bender, $2,000. For the Superintendent of Highways, time clock maintenance agreement for the year beginning September 27th, 2024 and ending next September 2025, totaling $78. Out of off-street parking, the cleaning of the train stations for the month of August, totaling $1,000 to Mid-Westchester Lawn Service. Central Garage, time clock maintenance agreement for their fund, Central Garage Fund, $390. And public safety, we have a reimbursement to an officer, a detective, I'm sorry, who attended a conference, and emergency flares, an order of flares, totaling $2,123.01. The reimbursement was $102.45 of that total. Senior citizen trips, the Broadway for Water for Elephants trip for October, being paid to Group Sales Box Office, that's $1,729.50. Adult programs for Zumba sessions, totaling $1,080. For our town pool, various chemical purchases and software, totaling $14,456.60. A portion of the Zumba classes being allocated to the youth programs fund, this is $960.
Excuse me.
Youth day camps, purchase order, a payment going to A&A maintenance. This is to clean facilities that the town uses, namely Westlake High School for its summer camp, in addition to Valhalla Methodist Church as well, totaling $20,383.01. Out of general repairs, a portion of time clock maintenance agreement in the amount of $2,265, in addition to various materials, blacktop, asphalt, sub pump hoses being rented from Westchester Tool Rentals, and other rental equipment totaling $109,644.88. Highway machinery expenditures totaling $3,710.30. For our various water district funds, we have the Old Farm Hill Water, engineering services to Charles Manganaro, this is $13,988. For Kensico, we have a few items with some consulting fees in addition to various materials and parts, and a piping and treatment modification project, which folks might see occurring up near the town pool with Laws Construction Corporation. That Laws payment was $254,182.13, in addition to the consulting and other material fees totaling $300,960.01. For Mount Pleasant West Ambulance, Village of Briarcliff Manor, our ambulance agreement for the contract year, which we discussed earlier, payment will total $8,608.35. This is for 2 years' worth. For Valhalla Refuse District, tub grinders, $61.90. Other parts totaling $247.60, in addition to $716 in the Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District. For the Joint Water District Fund, various supplies for $3,112.86. Mechanical Water District, chemicals totaling $7,552.67. Kensico Water Chemicals totaling $29,088.09. Trust and Agency Escrow Fund, Cleary Consulting is the only vendor for various projects, including Kensico Preserve, 146 Broadway, Brighton Bradhurst, 6 Sawmill River Road, 273 Lakeview, and New York City DEP contract number 2, totaling $4,125 for a total expenditure of $694,025.67 for the comptroller's memo. I will move for approval on this.
Motion by Mark,
Second?
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Smalley.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, and the public. I have my report from Parks and Recreation, and there are 6 items this evening. The first being purchase order 70-24-52. The vendor is Carrera Materials of 95 Glen Avenue in Portchester. It's authorization to purchase 4 loads of top dressing mix to be used on athletic fields and at the pool complex. 40 yards per delivery at $63 a yard. This is a price per the Westchester County contract. The total cost is $10,080. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is purchase order number 70-24-53. The vendor is Logically, P.O. Box 825692 of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's the authorization to allow Logically to install one wireless access point, Wi-Fi, on their network in the Parks Department garage. The total cost is $1,693.25. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item, purchase order 70-24-54. The vendor is Mad Science of Westchester, Lafayette Avenue in White Plains. It was for the Mad Science programming at Great Ventures Camp. It was a rocket building workshop. The total cost was $9,540, minus the deposit of $954, so the cost for this purchase order was $8,586. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item brings us into fall. So this is purchase order number 70-24-55. The vendor is Funtime Amusements of Jefferson Valley, New York, and the description is multiple rides and attractions with supervisors and generators for the rides and attractions for the 2024 Fall Foliage Festival on October 26, 2024. The total cost is $4,585. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on, purchase order number 70-24-56. The vendor is If It's Water Incorporated of Downingtown, Pennsylvania. We're replacing the drive shaft of the pool UV system. It's a complete tear down to remove and replace the drive shaft and carriage in the pool's UV system. Work needs to be done to stay in compliance with the Westchester County Department of Health. The total cost is $1,882. This is very important. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item comes from Brittany Nieder. She's the Assistant Superintendent, Recreation and Parks. This is authorization to approve the 2024-2025 fall and winter instructor rates. We will have these listed in the attached brochure, which if you haven't received in the mail, can be picked up here in the Recreation Department. So here's your audio-visual for tonight. I move for approval for the instructor rates listed in the fall brochure.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Please note that registration for fall programs begins tomorrow, and I will also highlight the senior flash flyer for the month of September for those of the seniors in the community, which includes all of the hamlets and all of the villages within the town of Mount Pleasant. Thank you.
Thank you. Town Attorney, I don't believe we have anything.
We do not tonight.
Good, thank you. Couple quick announcements. We have a 9/11 ceremony at Town Hall here tomorrow at 6 p.m. You are all welcome to join us. The first half of your school taxes is due by the end of September. And Mount Pleasant Day is Sunday, September 15th. Our next work session is Tuesday, September 17th at 7 p.m. Our business session will be Tuesday, September 24th at 7 p.m. And if there be no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
Second by Mark. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
night,
very
all.
much. Good night.